You are listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'.
This is Random Gameplay Pimpin'. This is podcast number 338. If you're into anime, nerd culture, and most importantly, video games, you come to the right place because we talk about all of that shit here. And we got a decent show for you guys today. A lot has been going on this past week, and I can't wait to dive in all of it. We have some anime to talk about, and I do mean a shit ton of anime to talk about. Also, Call of Duty. There's been a lot of shit going on out there. I like to call it Call of Booty because the butter is on the table. Also, we're going to get into some Star Ocean. We got some Nintendo news, Nintendo Switch news, something that I'm not really surprised about. I didn't even know of until I heard this news. And then some November releases. We got a gang of November releases and games, man. I didn't know we had that many releases. It kind of blew my mind a little bit. But anyway, without further ado, let's begin the show. But I want to start out first and let everybody know, especially all the OGs, most of these guys know that I have a online store. Okay, DragonBallDrip.com. Shameless plug. If you guys don't know about that website, check it out. I just wanted to let everybody know that all the pieces are finally coming together. And this time next week, I will have brand new merch on the website, guys. I'm so excited about this. Some awesome merch is on the way, and I'm going to be, giving you guys kind of teasers and stuff like that towards the end of next week. So definitely check out the website next week, guys. There's going to be plenty of merch coming on the way, especially compared to what's on there now. It's just taking some time, but now I'm finally hitting that area and that time where it's all beginning to gel together, and I'm so excited about that, guys. So definitely be looking out if you're a Dragon Ball fan. And if you don't know about Dragon Ball Drip, it represents basically other characters, no character in particular that you guys are familiar with. It's just characters I created that exist in the world of Dragon Ball. Okay, they still got that kind of Toriyama art style. They got kind of, they look similar in certain instances, but it's original work, and I want you guys to check it out. There's a lot of awesome stuff and more on the way. So just wanted to give that a shout out, and definitely be looking for that, guys, this time next week. So I'm just excited about it. But anyway, wanted to talk about that real quick. If you haven't been, definitely check it out. Anything you purchase there, I always tell my listeners, if you're new to the show, anything you buy there will definitely help towards helping out the podcast. So definitely give that a gander. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the lecture at hand, and let's talk a little bit about the show. Actually, I'm a little quiet. I'm kind of whispering a little bit. I might get a little louder towards the mid or end of the show, but everybody finally went to sleep. It's literally like 4:30 in the morning right now. So yeah. Just got to watching The Red Door, I think is what it's called. Insidious Red Door with my son, and it was pretty decent. He fell asleep towards the end, of course, and he's the main one advocating for the movie, but saw that. It was pretty decent. But I want to talk about my anime watch list, guys, because it has been a crazy week for me personally, and just anime period. Now, if you're new to the show, I am a huge fan of anime, and I have to talk about this because there's just so much going on out here in these anime streets right now. I mean, so much to the point where there's no way I could have finished it. I was trying to get it all done, but I don't like rushing it. So I had to juggle some of these anime. All right. And okay, let me first say Attack on Titan, the final episode is already aired. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the last portion of that last season. So now I'm going to put that on my to watch list. If not this week, next week. And I'm saying that because there's a lot of anime that I have to get through, and most of it is on Netflix, believe it or not. Now, I told you guys before, weeks prior, that Crunchyroll is my number one go-to for anime. But if you have to have another paid service, not paid service, if you have to have another app to use to watch an anime, if you had to have like a sidekick, which one would it be? Would it be Hulu? Would it be Amazon Prime? There's a lot of different choices, and some of those choices have certain anime on there that you can only get there. But if you have to pick one, if I'm being 100% honest, guys, Netflix is the one. They have so many great animes there now and coming still down the pipeline, and so many already to choose from. Like, if you're looking for anime, if all you had was Netflix and you were an anime guy and you couldn't, for whatever reason, you didn't want to pay for another service like Crunchyroll or anything like that, you're still going to be fine. You're still going to be okay. There's so much good anime here, guys, man. And a lot of it has been dropping, falling out the sky. Now, I remember about a year, maybe 2 years ago, I talked a little bit about it, that Netflix hired somebody. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, but they hired a guy who is familiar with the Japanese culture and familiar with anime. And they purposely hired this guy to basically fix their anime lineup, and he is doing a phenomenal fucking job right now. That's all I can say. And I've been watching more Netflix anime than Crunchyroll, and that's saying something. Now, let me name some animes that's out right now that I've been watching. I'm watching Black Clover. I'm watching that, and I'm watching One Piece a little bit, but I'm doing that on Crunchyroll. Okay. But then I had to switch over, okay, to Netflix and get on this Pluto shit, okay? Now, if you haven't heard of Pluto, it's an awesome little anime, and it's like, I think it's 8 episodes long, and the average episode length time for episode is like an hour, which kind of blew my mind a little bit. But anyway, this is based off a manga back in the early 2000s, and it surrounds the universe of Astro Boy, if you're familiar with Astro Boy, but it focuses on, I guess, some characters in that anime or in that manga more so. So I guess in the world of Astro Boy, he's the main character, of course, the hero, whatever you want to call him. And then there's other characters who are, powerful in their own right. They're out there in the universe, but they're not really dissected as much. And this anime or manga that turned anime is doing that now. So you got an 8 set piece part, and it's really about, from so far, I've only watched a couple episodes so far, but it's about, I guess, these 7 robots that are extraordinarily strong and gifted or whatever in the world. There's only a few in the world like them, and apparently they're being taken out one by some sort of entity. And I have not seen the entity yet. I don't know what this thing is. It's some sort of robot as well, because a human could not do this. But this world exists where androids and humans exist together, and there's laws in place where, I guess, the androids are not allowed to kill humans, and if any of them do, then, of course, they're destroyed or whatever. But these androids actually have feelings. They're almost like humans. They're married, have husbands and wives, and all this shit is crazy. Now, I never got into Astro Boy, never knew much about Astro Boy, but this makes me want to kind of get into it, because this shit is very, very well written. Like I said, I'm only two episodes in. I still have 6 more to go, and I will be doing that this week. So I'll be discussing it when I finish it next week with you guys. But definitely a dope anime. It's trending right now, and if you go to Netflix, you'll definitely see it. You can't miss it. They're going to put it in your face, and it deservingly so. Deservingly so. It needs that attention, and I would definitely give it that. But the other anime that I've been really wanting to watch is Onimusha, and this is based off an actual video game series, if you guys are too young to remember. But back in the PlayStation 2 days, I played pretty much all of the Onimusha games, okay? They were all dope. They were Capcom games. I really want to see them do the Onimusha series again. I would love to see an Onimusha remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. I would love for them to visit that again. But anyway, that is now an anime, and so far, so fucking good. I think I'm 4 episodes in that, and that's about 8 episodes too, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I'll be knocking that down. And after that, there's still so much more to go. There's the Laserhawk series, a Blood Dragon remix, and this is centered around the universe of Blood Dragon. And if you're not familiar with Blood Dragon, of that universe, you may have to go back to Far Cry 3, which is their DLC, which is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That DLC was awesome. That's really my favorite Far Cry, my favorite Far Cry game out of all of them. And it's a pretty decent sized DLC, but it's its own game, and it's a smaller version of Far Cry 3. It's got dinosaurs, it's got all these crazy guns, and the protagonist is awesome. He's a cyborg. It's stupid crazy. All right. But anyway, if you're into that kind of vibe, you should definitely check that out. I think that's available on most platforms. You can get the DLC and play it separate if you're interested in that. But yeah, this is loosely revolved around that universe, so to speak. So I definitely want to check that one out. I think that's only like 6 episodes though. That's crazy. They're getting ridiculous with the length of these, and I mean a bad way when you're talking about the shorts. That's one thing about Netflix is anime I don't necessarily like a lot. You got these 6 to 8 episode animes, and that's it. Okay, your typical anime at the least is going to be about 12 or 13 episodes, right? And then some even go deeper, between 24 to 26 episodes. So right now I think Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be about 24 episodes right now, and that's a good thing. I haven't started watching that. I'm waiting for it to finish so I can binge it, and that's just how I like to do certain anime, and that's what I'm doing with that one. So there's a lot of anime on the table. Netflix has some bangers, guys, and there's another one called, I think it's called god damn it, Blue-Eyed something Blue Eye. I can't remember the damn name. My boy was just telling me about it, and I think they gave us a preview episode maybe a week ago or so. It was 1 episode, and then on the 3rd or 4th, I think they released the rest of the episodes. So now if you want to go binge that, be my guest and go binge it. That one's also trending on Netflix. There's so many good ones. And there's some other ones on there too. Like I said, there's the Baki series, there's King and Ashura, which is still there. There's a lot of dope anime right now to be watched on Netflix, and that's not even including High Score Girl and the likes of those, which is one of my favorites on Netflix still, and I don't think that will ever change. But yeah, man, Anime Watchlist has been crazy, but that's what I've been watching personally. I watched some Black Clover today. I watched, like I said, some Pluto early this morning, and I even watched some Onimusha as well in the last couple hours. So like I said, the movie was over with. He fell asleep. I finished the little movie we watched, and then I turned on a little bit of some anime. I said, you know what, fuck it, let's do this podcast on a Saturday night because it's Saturday, and I usually do it Sunday night. But it's all good. I just want to let you guys know there's plenty of dope shit out there to watch. If you hadn't, definitely going back and get cleaned up on Attack on Titan now that it's over. I'm trying to avoid spoilers on the internet because they said that people are going to be really split on the ending, and a lot of people are split on that show anyway, depending on which characters you side with. It's crazy. But anyway, I can't wait to check that out and see what's going on. But that's the Anime Watch List, guys. Let's get on to the rest of the show, and I want to talk about some November releases because we got a shit ton of these November releases, man. I mean, we actually really do. More than I thought, way more than I thought. But like I said, you'd have to be on top of it to get every game now. And that's the thing. You know, I remember back in the day, it wasn't like this. You had a handful of games, period. And that's what was coming out. Okay. But now with all these different pieces of hardware, all these different systems, PC, and all these consoles, you got so many different things, and they come out at different times, man. There's just, the market is flooded. And some of these games you just would stumble on if you didn't know anything about it. Like I said, I'm going to get to this list. There's some interesting ones, especially when you're talking about the Nintendo Switch, because we got some games coming to the Switch in November that I forgot about on other consoles or played them in the past and completely forgot that they were even coming to the Switch. And now they're finally, I guess, gearing up to release it for the Switch. Now, I'm really curious about how a lot of these games are going to do on the Switch's hardware and all that. And I'll get to some of these games in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. So let's get started, man. And I'm going to start with Alien Hominid Invasion. Now, this game here, if you're familiar with the series, period, beforehand, it was an awesome little series. This little alien guy was a savage. But anyway, this game is, I don't know too much about it, but I know it's multiplayer, and I know they added new elements to the game. And I haven't checked the price. This is one I was meaning to check, but it slipped my mind. But I'm going to look into this one because this is definitely one I would like to add to the library. Now, I don't know if they have physical or not. A lot of these games that are kind of in that realm of, you know, indie, then it's kind of tossed up in the air if we're going to get the physical or not. So I'll look into that, but definitely check this one out. This one drops November 1st, so it's already out, and I can't believe it slipped past me, but it did. But I'll check it out later. RoboCop Rogue City came out November 2nd. Talked a little bit about that, guys. I mentioned that they tried to port it to the Switch, and I knew that wasn't happening. And the game actually did pretty good, man. Especially, it did better than I expected it to do. I guess I had seen some gameplay of it, and it wasn't very favorable to me when I saw it. But watching it again, watching some new gameplay, it's changed. I don't know. It was something about the gun and the way that it was connecting. And this was before the game was finished, and I guess they were still polishing it up. But still, that's just how it looked to me. But apparently, it's really won over all the fans of the RoboCop, series, and they're loving it. So it's basically a fan service piece of work, and I'm glad that there's something out there for everybody who was really a big fan of RoboCop to enjoy now. So that's cool. Next game on here is Blasphemous 2. It's a dope indie title sequel to the first Blasphemous game. Dark, Souls-like, Metrovania, all of that shit balled up into one. But the second game is out now. It came out November 2nd. I haven't checked any reviews on that one yet, though. But I'm going to get to a lot of these games. Next game on the list, okay, of course, most of us should know this, or if you don't, you've probably heard about it. And I'm talking about Star Ocean, Second Story R. That came out November 2nd. There's a demo available now, which I am currently playing and enjoying it right now. If you want to buy it, it's $50. And I'm going to get into that game a little bit later because I definitely want to talk about it. And it's bittersweet. So just be looking forward to that later on in the show. I'm going to talk about that. But anyway, that game is also very well reviewed. I think its average score is around an 85 to 87-ish, something like that. So it's really good. Anytime you get a grade 80 or higher, that's good. It's always a good thing. Okay. And some people would even rank it higher than that, 9s and 9.5s and stuff. And that's very dope. So congratulations for that game. And I'll be talking about it later. Trust me. All right. Next on this list is Salt and Sacrifice, the second game to Salt and Sanctuary. And this one is finally releasing for the Nintendo Switch, guys. I can remember when this came out on consoles. It was a while ago, easily over a year ago. Okay. And now it's finally been ported to the Switch November 7th, guys. So definitely this week is coming out. So be looking out for that one. And I'm wondering, that one shouldn't do too bad. I'm not too worried about that one on the Switch because, like I said, the first one is on the Switch. So I'm sure it won't be that big of a deal. I don't know if it's coming out physical or not either. Definitely want to check on that as well. That's November 7th. Now, Like a Dragon Gaiden. That one comes out November 9th, and I've talked about this game, guys, a few times. It's coming to Game Pass for free, and every other platform I think is going to be like $50, something like that. And it was considered to be first a DLC, but then they decided that they would make it into a standalone game, and they added some stuff. It became too big to become a DLC in their eyes, so they decided to make that move. And it looks good. I've seen lots of gameplay on it, and it's getting ready for the final piece of the puzzle, the final game. I think it's called, don't let me get the line, guys. I can't think of it right now. But anyway, that one is coming out in 2024, but this one's coming out November 9th. So looking forward to this one on the Game Pass to download it. Even if I don't get to it right now, I definitely want to download it and have it ready because I don't know if I'm going to be playing Xbox anytime soon. There's just so much that I'm doing and I got going on here in the next couple of months. So that I haven't been able to play a lot of games, guys. I mean, the only thing I've been playing is the Switch, is only because the Switch is portable. And even then, it'll sit in my backpack on most occasions just because I'm doing a whole bunch of shit. So I'll get to all that. But anyway, next game on this list, here's one that I'm really interested to see how this is going to look. Okay, this one definitely makes me question some things here. And I'm talking about Hogwarts Legacy. This is coming out on November 14th for the Nintendo Switch. I can't believe they're doing it. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like because I actually have it for the PS5 and I would love to see what shortcomings the Switch version is going to have and see where they go with this. Of course, it's probably not going to be 60 frames. It's going to be 30, of course, but I really want to see what else they're going to be able to do with this. Now, the Switch is capable of doing some amazing things. They've done it before in the past. There are some games I can name right now, which is The Witcher 3. They also did it with, they've did it with a number of different games. Near Automata, they've done it with. So it can be done. The question is, who is I don't know who's in charge of porting this game yet. I don't know that information, and that would tell us a lot on who's doing it. If it's a new company that's doing it, I don't know, guys. That's gonna really dictate that. And then also, are they gonna put it all on the disc? Okay, now when you're talking about Nintendo, I always go into this. Whenever you're putting a game on a cartridge with Nintendo, this is just my opinion. This is just how I prefer, games. I was having a conversation with a guy today, matter of fact, at Gamestop about this, but I always think the game should go on the cartridge. Okay. Now, some people may argue that it's the publisher's responsibility or decision to put the whole game on the cartridge, or if it's the actual company making the game. Now, depending on who the company is, it falls to either one. But a lot of the time it does fall to the publisher. Okay. And I'll, like I said, get into that a little bit later on in this podcast. But right now, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how big the game's going to be. That's another thing, because if it's going to be download only and you're looking at 15 to 20 gigs or something like that, guys, I mean, and they're not going to give you the 32 gigabyte cartridge. Do you download it only? Do you want it that bad on your Switch? It just basically depends on who the person is. It's subjective is what it is. But I'm interested to see what they do with this. I'm always interested when they put out games that are out on like the PlayStation 4 or something like that. And then they say, okay, we're going to make it for the Switch as well. All right. So I can't wait to get into that. And I'll definitely reapproach that when that time comes. Next up is a remaster. And we're talking about Turok 3. The remastered version. Okay. And this is coming out November 14th as well. Game. I don't know how it looks. I know nothing about it, but very curious about Turok and seeing what they've done with this game. Okay. Definitely when you remaster it, all the new skins, and this is available on all consoles, I think so, Switch included, but definitely going to be interesting to see how that one turns out. Next game on this list is Lost Faith. This comes out November 15th. If you don't know what this game is, think of it as a pixelated retro kind of Metroidvania, Dark Souls, all those crammed into one thing. People have talked about it. I've seen previews of it. Looks pretty good. But now these games are a dime a dozen. They come out all the time now, and I'm not complaining. Please don't get it twisted. I would love for companies to keep making these. Like I said, I just mentioned Blasphemous 2 on here. That's kind of in that same ballpark. And I love those type of games. So keep them coming. And when they become cheaper and they go on sale, guess what? I'm getting them. I'm grabbing them all. Okay. That's the thing. When there's so many games out here to consume, you just have to accept the fact that you're not going to get them all. You're not. Okay. This is not Pokemon. You're not going to catch them all right now. You have to play the game the way the game is designed to be played. If you're smart, and that is sit back in the bushes, waiting for these prices to grow weaker and weaker, and then you go in for the kill. That's how you do it. And with the exception of games that you just can't live without. Okay. You need day one, like me. Okay. Super Mario RPG. That's one. And I can't believe that slipped my mind when I was talking about games that I would only buy day one. There's only a couple, and the only one that was on my list at the time was Grand Blue Fantasy, but I have totally forgot about the Switch, the Super Mario RPG game. And that one is pre-ordered and everything like that. And the guy at GameStop even told me, man, make sure if you're getting that pre-ordered, because we're only getting a few of them in. And I said, cool, I've already done that. We're good. So can't wait to go back there to those days and take a look at that Super Mario RPG game and revisit all that. That's going to be cool. Definitely going to be dope. But anyway, let's move into the next game, guys. Next game coming out is Naruto/Boruto Ninja Storm Connections. That's November 17th as well. That's one I'm going to put on the back burner and wait for a sale, because I already have the Ninja Storm Ultimate Collection. And yes, this one has new pieces, and this is going to, I think, wake up the community again. And we're going to have new tournaments and things like that, which I always applaud, which I always love as a Naruto fan. It's just that, like I said, you can't have them all unless you want to pay out of your ass. And right now, that's not my mission. That's not my goal. My goal is to save and get games that I'm going to play and play a lot of right when I get them, not buy them just to have them to play later. if that makes sense. So that's what I'm going to do. There's so many games on my list like this that I just need to go ahead and circle back around and grab them when they're on sale. It just makes more sense, even especially when somebody like me, I'm not even playing a lot of games right now. There's not a lot of games, okay? The only thing I see myself playing console-wise moving forward anytime soon is a little Cyberpunk 2077, okay? That DLC, trying to wrap that up. And that, like I said before, I'm not going to rush that. That might take me a month to do, okay? And then also there's a DLC coming out in a couple weeks. Less than that, actually, a little over a week now, is coming out for Remnant 2. All right. And I have some news on that while I'm sitting here talking about Remnant 2. While I'm in this zone right now, I remember I told you guys that I had a friend who basically, we played it, we bought it together. He's the one that put me on it. I fell in love with it. It was my sleeper hit of 2023. And then he was saying that he went and he deleted it. He went to re-download it because I told him about the Halloween event that they had, and we were going to play it. But he said, he called me and said, I'm not playing it. I'm done with Remnant 2. And I was like, why? He said, because his saves were lost. He had over 230 hours of playtime. He had 3 different characters. He had pretty much all the weapons. He had the hardest mode boss fight beaten. He pretty much did it all. I went online. They were making videos and previews of the DLC, and I was looking at a video and I left a comment, and I basically explained to them was what I explained to you guys about what happened to his save file. And then somebody messaged me back and said, look, man, tell him don't do that. Tell him just to re-download the game, revisit it, go all the way through past the intro credits, and then he should have his save should be there. He called me up and he said, yo, I'm back in the game. I did what you asked me to do. I did what you told me, and it worked. My saves are here. The only bad thing about it, they put me right before the final boss on the hardest difficulty. That's it. All I got to do is beat him, and I already did that. I did that in the last hour. So I was like, well, fuck, we're back in the game. So now when the DLC drops, I don't have to be solo. I have somebody I can rely on and that I can actually communicate with, who's not a rando, and I don't have to worry about kicking me out of their game at any given time. And it's just a beautiful thing. I had some of the best times playing with him or playing with people we know on that game. That's the cool thing about a lot of these games online wise for me personally. I don't like playing a lot of online games unless I'm playing with people that I know. And that's just how I like to roll. And this game is definitely one of those games. Yes, you could do a solo, but when I play a solo, it just feels a little empty. It's still fun. I've done it. We're not playing the same game at the same time all the time. We have different sleep schedules and all of that type of stuff. So that happens. But a lot of the time we are together and we plan on doing that. So that's how I like to experience the game mainly. So it is what it is. And like I said, without him, I wouldn't have my favorite archetype that I'm using right now anyway. You know, that thing is hard to fucking get. But anyway, happy to announce that he's back in the game. So definitely looking forward to making more Remnant 2 content, which I plan on uploading eventually. I still have a lot of shit that we played when the game first came out. So I just have so much shit to give, guys, but bear with me. Now let's move on and get back to the end of this November release list right here. And let's go ahead and go with the Super Mario RPG, of course, November 17th. I already talked about it. I already got it pre-ordered. Can't wait to play it. And then there's one more game on here, and I'm talking about November 30th, and this is Biomutant, okay, on the Switch. Now, this is the one I'm most interested about in seeing how they're going to do this. Hopefully, it's not a bloody mess, because I'm just going to be honest with you guys. On the PlayStation 4, when I got this game, it was a mess. It was janky as hell. It was frame skipping all over the place. It just needed a whole bunch of work. Okay. It was still play. I wanted to play it so bad. I still played through a lot of the game. I never finished it though. I never finished it because it was a lot of stuff going on. Okay. Just enough to make you just question like, man, should I wait for a patch? And eventually something else came out, and I graduated from that and left and never came back around to it. But since then, there's supposedly had been a lot of updates since, and I haven't revisited the PS4 version. And like I said, this was before I had my PS5, and I had my kids come over one summer, and they actually bought it and played it for the PS5, and it ran buttery fucking smooth. And I said, that's how I want to experience this game, like this. So I'll eventually go back to it. on the PS5, of course. But here's the question: it's 60 frames on the PS5, 60 frames. I don't know if they did a 60 frame update on the PS4 or not. I'm not sure, but it was not 60 frames there at the time. It was 30. And let's keep it real with each other. I don't see this going 60 frames on the Switch. I'm just interested to see how it runs at 30. Can it be locked at 30? Can it be glitch free at 30? They've waited so long. I think Biomutant came out a couple years ago. It's been out for some years, I think now. Now that they have it on the Switch, I'm wondering if they were able to do everything they needed to get this up and running. I haven't even looked into it yet. I'm sure somebody out there like Digital Foundry can do a video on it, and they probably will. And I'll be watching it with popcorn. I want to see how this is going to play out, because if it does end up being a decent port and they're able to put it all on the cartridge, then it may be something for me to add to the Switch collection eventually, because I'm strongly in the belief that when the Switch 2 comes out, they're going to be able to play the Switch games. Okay. And I think it's going to be sort of like how the PlayStation 5 is doing with the PS4 stuff, and same thing with Xbox. Okay. I have a strong feeling that this is going to happen. I don't think Nintendo is going to drop the ball on their audience. That's one thing I don't think I see Nintendo doing. Nintendo's known to do a lot of shit, okay, that is unfavorable in a lot of ways, because they're Nintendo, and Nintendo always has been that company to throw their nuts on the table and say, I don't give a fuck, because we're Nintendo and you're still going to buy our shit. Okay. And we know this. I had this same conversation with the manager at GameStop today. We got into it. He's a Switch guy too. He collects, and I'm just getting into collecting for the Switch, but we had some interesting conversations, man. And it's amazing how I could have sat and talked to this guy for hours, because we had a lot of the same beliefs and same likes and things of that nature. I love when I get a chance to talk to people, or like-minded people, when we're talking about games and anime and stuff like that. And usually those things kind of cross over a little bit, if not a lot. And I don't know what it is about that. It's just that usually most gamers, they look at anime too. Okay. It's rare that you see that, and that those are kind of separate, but most of the time that's what it is. But we had some great conversations for about 15 minutes up there when I was picking up a game, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Can't wait to see what Biomutant is going to do. Going to look into that, and I'll probably address it next week too on the show. So be looking out for that, guys. But anyway, my GameStop story. I went to GameStop today. I was on the phone with a friend, and we were talking about the next thing I want to get into, which is the Star Ocean, the second story R game, in which I was talking about how bittersweet it was. But anyway, I was on the phone with a friend, and I said, I'm going into GameStop now. And he was like, man, do they have physical or not? I said, yeah, they got physical. He said, oh shit, I guess I'm gonna push play on that and get the physical, because he was playing the demo and he was explaining to me how much he enjoyed the demo and how it was one of his favorite games back in the day, and how the story was crazy. And he was going to get it. So I said, cool, man, I'm going to go in here now and see if they have any. I went in there. Manager guy was there. I was looking at some Switch games, and I stumbled upon Paper Mario, and it wasn't there before. And it had, I stay in a small town, so it's like they usually don't have these games come in like this. But it was sitting there, and it was 50% off. Nintendo, if you know them, their prices are ridiculous, and they're always usually like that. So it was listed at 60, but at 50% discount, and so I got it. It was $30, but I had a couple other discounts because I had a membership. That membership gave me like $15 off of that, so I ended up paying like $15 for the game physical. And then the cartridge itself, not the cartridge, I'm sorry, the case that it came in, it was fucked up a little bit. Like it had, I guess somebody had the game in somewhere to where it, on both sides, it had like a small puncture. And I was like, what the fuck? Why? How does this happen to these games? Like, what do these people do with these games in these cases for them to look like this? It makes no fucking sense. But anyway, he was cool because I said, yo, I want to get this, but can you do me a favor? Can you give me a new case for this? Because he was like, sure, yeah, man. I know how it is. I'm a collector. Cool. And he hooked me up with another case. Now the case looks brand new, looks crispy. And that's how I like my shit. You know what I mean? I like it to look crispy. But that's a side tangent. Anyway, we're talking about Star Ocean, but we're also going to talk about something else that I'll get to it in a minute. It's about GameStop. It's kind of a bad thing. It's not good. But anyway, Star Ocean story. Just found out that the game is not going to be all on the disc. That broke my fucking heart, man. That broke my heart. And he said, you know what, man? He said, I'll show you. He said, these are pre-order. You know, we can't sell these. We only got enough for pre-orders. But he said, look on the box. And it says right there on the bottom, must download online. And he was like, yeah, man, they only put like 3 gigs on the disc. And then he said, you know why that is? I said, what I said was Nintendo being cheap. He said, no, this was actually Square Enix that chose to do this time. Square Enix was the ones who said, no, let's go ahead and let's just have it downloaded. They took the cheap way out, which is surprising on a title like this. They were trying to cut corners. I don't know if they didn't think people were going to gravitate towards this game, towards this re-release. I don't know what they thought, but apparently they thought wrong, man, because they fucked up, and that killed it for me. It killed it for me because I don't want to download this. I mean, you're either going to download it or you're going to get the physical. There should be 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, no. And this is on every console. So I'd rather just buy it on like PlayStation or something like that when it goes on sale. In that case, you feel me? Because it makes no sense. But Nintendo, yeah, it hurt. It definitely hurt. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. One cool thing about Switch is there's always a third-party company out there who is willing to go that extra mile. And I'm talking about PlayAsia, okay? PlayAsia does a lot of dope shit. If you're looking for a game that isn't coming out for physical, or it does come out for physical, but you don't, they're not spending the money to put it all on the cartridge, you can go to PlayAsia, where PlayAsia actually is putting it on the cartridge. So it has Japanese and it has English. I think he said English text or English sub on there. And I'd rather play that way. I'd rather play the English. You know, I'll read it. Okay, you're going to have to read it anyway, most of it anyway. So I'm like, give it to me in Japanese and just give me the sub. I'll take it. If it's all on the disc, please do so. That's what they're doing. So I think pre-orders are going up on the 7th, or they're going to be over at the 7th. So if you want physical, you should definitely check out PlayAsia, because they do a lot of limited run stuff, kind of like limited run games when they do a lot of these too. But there's a lot of people who feel kind of iffy or you know, when it comes to limited run games, they have a love-hate relationship with limited run games, depending on who you are and what games you're looking for. But PlayAsia is definitely one of those dope websites. I fuck with them. I've bought stuff from them. I actually bought River City Girls 1 and 2 on the same cartridges. I actually had River City Girls downloaded, the first one, but then they came out with a super pack with both of them on the cartridge, and I was like, whoa, please sign me up. I bought it from them. So, and it had English and it had Japanese dubbed on there. So definitely good looking out for PlayAsia on that, and good looking out for them on Star Ocean. So definitely check them out. They do a lot of stuff, man, over there. They do a lot of crossovers. They do a lot of games that come out in Japan, but for whatever reason, Japan gives us English dub or English sub, and they have those out there. So definitely check PlayAsia out. Anyway, talking about this stuff, that kind of broke my heart. Yes. And then we got into kind of conversation about Nintendo and some of the stuff. And then we got into Mario, and he's looking forward to that one as well. And it was a good conversation, man. Pretty cool. But the one thing I did want to talk about in terms of GameStop, and it just doesn't look good for them, guys. It really doesn't look good for them. It's something came out recently. One of my YouTubers that I follow, Review Tech USA. If you don't know who Review Tech USA is, please check this guy out. He is fucking hilarious, and I love him to death. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels. But anyway, he did a video, and the video is surrounding what GameStop is doing. Shady practices, man. I just couldn't believe this from GameStop. I won't be using this. But anyway, you know, when you go to GameStop, they always try to push these warranties on you. Okay. Now, one good thing about GameStop that I would say was cool was the fact that if you did get a warranty on a console, if that console broke or something happened to that console, you could take it back and get you a brand new one. Well, that is dead now. Now what they're doing is they changed it to the point of where if you do fuck up your console and you want to take it back, you can. The issue lies where what are you getting in return? You're not getting a new console anymore. They're giving you another used console. So something happens to your console, you break it, whatever. You take it to GameStop. They give you another used console, okay, who's probably got Cheeto residue all over it, who's probably been all kinds of through the ringer with whoever else had it. Let's get our 5-year-old a new system. Yay. And just let them go ape shit crazy on it, right? And that's what you get. So I definitely see that people, that's pretty much going to kill the warranties. I think for most people, they're going to kill the warranties unless you have a small child and you buy a cheap console and you say, you know what, as long as it works, I'll give another one. But I see most people not doing that. You want that new shit, okay? Especially the people who have been going to GameStop and they're familiar with how the practices are and all that. Nobody's going to do that. If they ask me, hey, you want to get a warranty on this PS5 or, you know what? No, I'm not paying for that to get another used copy, another used version of it. Some people may, though. Some people may say, fuck it, I don't care about that. As long as the other one works, I'll take it in there. So, I mean, you can look at it like that, but I think that's just shady practice. Why not? What happened to the new versions of that? It makes no sense. But I'm not going to be messing with it, okay? You're just going to have to take very good care of that console, okay? And I'm pretty sure that there's pretty much now, if you go on Craigslist or you go on internet, there's people now who actually are super pros, certified technicians when it comes to fixing your console. So you take your console into them, they'll get the part, piece, whatever it is, and they'll fix it. Or you can order it on eBay or order it on Amazon now. Like that's the good thing, the cool thing about the technology and the age we live in now when it comes to that stuff. If you want a fucking PSP battery, you can get that on fucking eBay. Okay. And I know that because I actually have done that. Okay. I had a PSP and the battery was a piece of shit. And they actually have these new batteries now where you can actually buy them and it's like double the battery life. It's crazy. It's crazy now. So you don't have to want for anything anymore most of the time for your gaming needs. If you can find it somewhere, you can get that cheaper price, that discount or whatever. Okay. You can get it. That's my point. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on to to another thing I want to talk about. And I'm talking about Twitch. All right. And this is talking about Nintendo Switch here. And I always talk about Switch lately I've been talking a lot about Switch, of how much I love it and how cool it is. And like I said, guys, I definitely love Nintendo. Like I said, they're my second favorite. And right behind Sony, and they have a lot going for themselves. They do, but they also have a lot of things that need to be addressed, and hopefully they address most of these with the Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm not going to be surprised if they don't address these things, to be honest, as well, because like I said, Nintendo is that company that just doesn't give a fuck what other people think, because they know that they're going to sell no matter what. People they're going to make their money. Okay, they know this, but they can make more with honey than they can with fucking vinegar. That's all I'm saying. Hopefully they fix this with the Switch 2. I didn't even know this shit because I would never have even thought to do this, but there's a lot of Twitch streamers out here who do Nintendo stuff. All right. I didn't know how they did it. I assume they did it with their PC and all that. And that's what I would assume. Okay. You get your capture card, you get all that stuff and you do it like that. But apparently there was a Twitch app out for the Nintendo Switch. Now on PlayStation, it's right into the app. Xbox, same thing. You download that app and you can run your game and you can, stream your shit right there on your system, right on your console. Right. Cool. The Switch. No, I didn't know this about the Switch, but it came out in January. No, I'm sorry. It came out in late 2021. The app came out. If you downloaded the app is virtually useless. Okay. I don't even know why they even put this shit out, guys. I really don't. Okay. Because you can't see a streams chat on the app. Okay. You can't. You must use another device anyway. So that's why people who stream it were using PCs and using other things anyway to do that. If they wanted to do it with the Switch. Cool. But here's the kicker, man. You can't subscribe to the creators either. So people watching you, they can't subscribe through that app. Can't broadcast gameplay. That's the other whammy. What? You can't stream your shit on the Switch. Okay. And that's the things. Those are the major ones. And finally, Twitch has announced, hey, we're done. The butter is too much butter. We're not able to clean all the butter up. No matter what happens, we turn left, we turn right. There's more butter. Okay. We wipe the table clean. There's a whole nother pile of butter on the other side. They just can't clean the butter. All right. So January 31st, 2021 is when they're killing it. They're going to axe it all. Deservingly so. If anybody's even using it, I doubt anybody's even using it. Why would you even have it? Why would you even have that for Nintendo? Like, if you're not utilizing any of that. So that's my dream for the Nintendo Switch 2, that if it's like they actually create the app and it actually works the same as it would, anywhere else. Yes, I understand it's portable, but still it can, as much as they're whispering out here in these video game streets about how powerful this next Switch 2 is going to be, that should not be a problem at all. My other pet peeve with Nintendo is the native voice chat thing. Okay. They've got to have native voice chat on this thing coming up, man. They have to. No one wants to use a fucking app, okay, to do this, or even Discord, which, don't get me wrong, Discord is cool, and a lot of people get a lot out of Discord, but you know, it'd be cool if you could integrate that in the system, kind of like now what Sony's done. I don't know if Xbox has done it yet, but I think they have, where you can even use Discord within there, so you don't even have to use your server or Xboxes or Sony's. You can actually go through Discord, but something like that to where we can get these parties going. We can get real parties now with Nintendo and develop some kinship with some of these players out here in the Switch world and the Nintendo world, because there's a lot of fans, man. There's a lot of passionate fans out there. Nintendo has passionate fans. I love that, because we're all passionate about our games, you know, and I would love to actually rub elbows with some of these guys out here that play Nintendo as well sometimes. But those are the things I really want for the Switch 2. Those are the things I want the most for the Switch 2. And hopefully we get at least one of those things. You know, I'm fingers crossed, man. Even if we don't get it day one when it comes out, we get an update, which will give it to us. Maybe they're working on this stuff currently as I'm talking into this microphone now, and it won't be ready when the Switch 2 comes out exactly necessarily, but it will eventually come out. So kind of like what they did with Twitch. I mean, Twitch was out way before that on the consoles, and they said, okay, now we're going to put it out here, you know, for the Switch. And I just don't know who was in charge of making that decision, because it basically came out dead out of the womb, just like Guts from Berserk out of his mama's womb. Okay, when the story started. And yeah, that's a Guts reference, but makes no sense to me, guys. I don't know. I'm going to move on from that. There it is. There's your news on that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this Call of Duty fiasco that everybody's talking about. Apparently, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, it's got a shit ton of drama. Okay. And the scores are terrible. IGN shit on it. I can't believe IGN laid this score on it. IGN gave it a 4 out of 10. All right. IGN is usually known for giving, you know, that 7 out of 10 score. That's their kind of, that's their signature, 7 out of 10 usually. And they gave it a 4 out of 10. All right. GameSpot gave it a 5 out of 10. Oh shit, GameSpot. And they're kind of, you know, uppity themselves, and they gave it a 5 out of 10. All I can say is I was never a Call of Duty player, guys. I don't play Call of Duty. I have people who do play it, and all I've been hearing is just bad shit about it, man. There's a campaign on this one, and I heard the campaign was on average about 3.5 hours long. Very shitty. The campaigns aren't long at all to begin with. Your average campaign, if they do put it in the game, is around 6 hours or so. And that's if you stretch it, and that's what we're looking at now here. Apparently, there's just a lot of shit wrong with this game. And supposedly, if you want to put everything and you want all the bells and whistles on this game, it's going to take up 200. Yes, I said I started with the 240 gigabytes of space. That's how much is required for you to download this completely. Now, supposedly you can take some of that off. You can take maybe 80 or 90 gigs off of that. If you take off the high res, I guess, patches, or I guess a portion of the game where you can put that on there. But who wants to play the game? Who wants to play it lackluster? You want to play it the best possible way, don't you? But it's going to cost you 240 gigabytes to do so. These games are getting ridiculous, guys. And a lot of people are saying that there's no way that they could not have fixed that and run that down. I think what happened was they threw this shit together because everybody's saying that this is basically a glorified DLC. That's what this is. It's all it is. And it's a cash grab. And they want full price for this. And people are shitting on it, and deservingly so. The problem with Call of Duty, in my opinion, is fatigued. Everybody's getting fatigued, man. Okay, on a lot of these games. They're putting these out like fucking Madden puts out games every year. People are starting to feel the burn. People are seeing this now. People are going through that motion where, yo, this is just rehashed. These guys are throwing shit together, and that's what we're getting. That's what we're getting right now. And I'm just so glad I'm not a Call of Duty player, because I would definitely be covered in butter, but I'm not, because I don't play it. So I'm immune to you know, this Call of Duty butter. So, but a lot of people are not, and they're salty and they're sick, and understandably so, man. It's got to that point where now somebody left a comment and said, you know, Bobby Kotick left. He went out with one last laugh with this game. It was probably under his tutelage where the decision was made to do this. He probably signed off on it. and now he's gone. So hopefully this changes. I've said this before. Okay, we're going to be under new management in 2024, and hopefully they look at all this and they say, all right, let's let's take it easy. Let's stop putting these out every year, or let's at least, when we put these out, let's make a game worth buying. Okay, if it takes us a year and a half to do it instead of a year, let's do that. Let's not rush it and say, look, we have to have this game out by this time of the year every year, because then you put unwanted pressure on your devs. Then you begin to stretch people thin. You begin to stretch resources thin, and then you put shit out on that date anyway, and you begin with doing all these patches, and then you just turn it into a shit show, and you kill your company slowly. Death by 1,000 cuts, however you want to say it, it happens, and you don't want that. Okay, that's why so many people are happy that douchebag Bobby Kotick is gone. Okay, because he's a piece of shit, and he ran shit wrong, and we don't want people running it this way in the gaming community. He wasn't a gamer. These guys don't give a fuck about games. So there you have it. Hopefully Microsoft can recover, and recover well from this, because this Call of Duty shit has got to stop. All right, it's becoming the Madden of the Madden of the first person shooters. That's what it's becoming right now, because they're just making up shit to throw out there, and as a result, you see what you get. Slow down, put the game in the oven, and let it cook all the way through. Okay, stop putting this shit out, this gooey in the middle type shit. Stop putting this out like this, man, and leave the butter on the table. All right, and with that, I'll end the show. I want to thank everybody for downloading, streaming, listening to this guy talk about games and anime and whatever else I talk about on this show every week. If you're new to the show, thank you for coming. I hope to see you again. We do this every Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. This was actually a pretty good sit down. No dogs in the background barking this time. It was quiet. Let me knock on wood and don't jinx myself. But please check out DragonBallDrip.com. Next week, if you don't want to do it now, so you can take a look at that brand new merch. And I'll be definitely giving you guys some updates on that. Also, show some love on my other platforms, guys. I'm trying to grow a channel. YouTube, it's very young. I only have like 26, 27 subscribers. It's fresh as a baby's ass. I'm going to grow this channel. I'm putting out content on a daily basis. I have new game trailers on Mondays, and I have a lot of other videos between that time. So definitely go check out that and subscribe to that channel. Let's grow together. Okay, Random Gameplay Pimpin' on YouTube. Also check out my Random Gameplay Pimpin' page on TikTok. That's growing as well. That's actually growing faster than YouTube, but their algorithm is a lot better. I really like TikTok's algorithm. So content on that. I usually put out content 3, 4, 5 times a week on that, definitely as well. So check that out. Show your love there. And yeah, man, that's going to do it for the show. I'm going to get out of here and edit this up real quick, and I will see you guys next week on episode 339. This is your boy Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'. See you next time.